I'm Larry Menti. Welcome back to Another Thing. As promised, we have the Associate State Director of the AARP in New Jersey, Brian McGuire. Brian, thanks so much for joining us. Before we get into seniors and prevention, I want to talk about your case. You just told me during the break that you were a victim.
Yeah, and we've heard how common identity theft is. In fact, I was. Somehow, someone got a hold of my debit card information, not my physical debit card, but they were able to in one way or another, and we can talk about how that happens. And they purchased some things. They purchased some things online, a few $100s worth of items. I very quickly reported it to my credit union, to the police department, and they followed up on it. But as you heard in the last segment, given the resources out there and the fact that the perpetrator was in another state, they really did not pursue it at all. But the positive thing is that I learned a lot about it. The importance, for instance, of having a police report, because a police report gives you what you need with your financial institution to make sure that your losses are at a minimum. Oftentimes you won't see any loss at all, which happened in my case, or they'll be limited to $50 at the most. So that's important. You
heard in the last segment them talking about seniors being particular victims. Is that the case?
It is. They are, and there are a lot of reasons for that. We heard about the online vulnerability there. A lot of seniors are just now getting up to speed with regard to electronic communication stuff. They just got computers. They may not have thought they had to purchase the software that you need to protect yourself, for instance. They may not be aware of that smartphone that they're now going to replace has a whole lot of individual information on it that a thief could use. Nowadays, even printers now, we have wireless printers that actually have information stored in them. So when you get a new phone or a new computer, you've got to wipe that data off, and some people don't know about that. Also, in many cases, both in terms of computer and on the phone and otherwise, seniors can be more vulnerable in that oftentimes they trust people more. And
in the physical part, let me stay with the online stuff for a second, then we'll move on to the physical as well and go through ways to prevent it. But online, someone told me recently that there are really no super gimmicks. There are some, but that's not the way that most identity thieves work. We are too willing to give up our information.
Yeah, that's right. For instance, I've seen them from PayPal, which I use to pay for some things. And when I looked very closely, I saw that was not actually PayPal that was sending me this email asking me for some of my personal information. It was clearly what's called phishing, where they're soliciting that kind of information. And you get the same kind of thing actually on text messages.
And they do it because, as we just heard, the chances are they won't be investigated, and the chances are they won't be prosecuted, so it's up for us to protect ourselves.
Absolutely, and they can make themselves disappear very quickly.
And how do we protect ourselves?
Well, there are a lot of things. People should think about where their information is. Physically, you've got a wallet, a purse with credit cards, your driver's license. You should not have your Social Security card in your wallet, but all that identifying information you're often carrying with you. Your bank statements, your credit card bills, those are all things that are sitting in your mailbox. And as the previous speakers talked about, often people just throw it right into their recycling bin or into their trash. And think about where that information is. In terms of doing transactions, it's very easy, for instance, when you're paying for something with a credit card, a wait person or a retail person, there are literally these devices where they can very quickly swipe your credit card separately, get that information stored on their own device, and use that. So
how do you prevent that?
Well, you watch it closely.
Okay.
The most important thing really is to make sure that you're monitoring all your credit card statements very closely every month, your bank statements, and seeing if there's anything on there that doesn't look like something that you actually purchased.
It seems like a lot of the cases I hear about, especially some of the high-profile cases, with seniors in particular, have nothing to do with anything you talked about. It has to do with someone coming to their home and misrepresenting themselves.
It happens all the time. Someone coming to your home to, oh, can I repave your driveway? We're in the neighborhood. Do you need your roof repairs or your windows? Important there, you want to see a license, you want to see a permit. Most municipalities, you have to have a permit even to go door to door, and make sure if you do ultimately enter into a contract, you're not paying a lot of money up front at all. The company should not be asking for really hardly any money whatsoever up front.
So the number one thing you would tell people is just always scrutinize.
Absolutely.
Don't be so willing to believe.
Absolutely.
Isn't that a shame?
Well, it is. But I guess that's the days we live in.
I thank you so much for being here. That was great information.
Sure.
Brian McGuire, the Associate State Director for the AARP. We'll be right back.